My 27 male girlfriend, 27 female, keeps pushing me to try non monogamy and asks why I won't compromise when I push back. We're both 27 and have been dating for 10 months. My girlfriend, Lucy, is bisexual and has always been open with me about her kinks and fantasies, and bringing in other people, MMF, MFF, MMFF, and so on, features high on her list. I'm pretty vanilla by comparison. I never guilt tripped her or shamed her when she opened up to me about these, but I always made it clear to Lucy that they were a bit above what I could provide, and that in particular, I would never be comfortable bringing another man into the equation. About 6 months into the relationship, Lucy suggested that we have an MFF threesome with another woman and that she would be happy to arrange it. I was a little apprehensive about this initially, as I didn't want it to be used against me as a bargaining chip further down the line, and so constantly checked in with Lucy asking if she was sure it was something she wanted and that we would be doing together. Not longer after the threesome took place, Lucy suggested that we visit a garden party together, which we did, and at which we only played with each other. She also suggested reaching out and meeting other couples involved in the scene. My understanding was that we would be befriending couples who were also dipping their toes in the water with garden parties and such, and have people who could accompany us to these kinds of events as friends. We matched with another couple on an app and met up with them a few times for drinks. Earlier tonight, Lucy called me and hit with me with a curveball. She said that the past few months she had been feeling unsatisfied and unenthused by our sex life. This really caught me off guard. I knew that Lucy was more adventurous, and I thought I had been doing a decent job of accommodating this, the MFF threesome, the sex party, and talking to another couple. I was hurt by this revelation, but I did my best to find out from Lucy what it was she felt was lacking and what we could do to fix things. After a bit of probing, it became apparent that she wanted us to experiment with MMFF non-monogamy. Flirting with another couple, playing truth or dare type games with them, ideally some form of swapping, etc. All things that would make me uncomfortable and which I just can't ever see myself doing, and yet which are extremely important to Lucy. I asked Lucy if there was anything else at all we could try in order to meet in the middle. The subject of toys came up, but it was pretty apparent this was a mere sideshow. Lucy got a bit crappy with me at one point, insinuating I wasn't being open-minded enough, asking how I knew that I wouldn't be into what she was asking, that the situation is unfair and that I'm not willing to compromise, even though she is the one instigating all of this whilst being fully aware what my boundaries are. After a bit of back and forth, it eventually dawned on us both that we were staring at the end of the relationship. I told Lucy I was hurt by the revelation, but that I was still thankful that she spoke up, that she needs to do right by herself and not compromise on something if it's important to her. At this point, Lucy became tearful, asking if this was the end, that this wasn't how she expected the conversation to go, and so on. We ended up saying goodnight after promising we'd have another chat about it later. I'm writing this now, having just gotten off the phone off her. I'm pretty gutted, being told out of the blue that your partner has been unsatisfied and unexcited isn't a particularly great thing to hear. I think this is probably the end of Lucy and I, as I don't see myself ever entertaining the scenarios she wants us to partake in, and even if she agreed to bury it, there would be the risk of this coming up again at a later date. Since I started writing this, Lucy has been texting me, pleading with me to compromise. I am trying my best to explain to her that the boundaries she is asking me to compromise on are hard ones, and which would very likely lead to me getting hurt, but the topic of compromise keeps coming up. Not sure what to do. I would appreciate any advice on how to navigate this, and if things might possibly be salvaged without major boundaries being crossed. Thanks. TLDROPs, GF keeps nudging him to try forms of non monogamy he isn't comfortable with. Claims he needs to compromise when he pushes back, potentially a relationship ender, but OP wants to know how things might be salvaged. ETA. Formatting. ETA. Thanks for the comments, everyone. I think it's pretty clear that this is the end of the road for Lucy and I. I will have a chat with her tonight and tell her that we're through. Told her I don't want to try non-monogamy. She's now guilt-tripping me 2 weeks later. A few weeks ago, I posted in another sub about a situation with my GF, Lucy, nudging me to try forms of non-monogamy that I wasn't comfortable with and claiming I needed to compromise when I pushed back. The consensus from comments on my post was that the relationship needed to end as her and I were clearly sexually incompatible, but deep down, I was adamant that things could be salvaged somehow. Not long after our initial conversation, I explained to Lucy why her actions were wrong, pushing against my boundaries despite my repeated saying no, and she apologized to me. She suggested that we go away and write lists of activities that we would or wouldn't be comfortable engaging in and seeing where we could find common ground or meet each other in the middle. It seemed reasonable. The other day, we sent each other our lists. Lucy was clearly disappointed with mine, as I more or less ruled out partaking in all of the ethnical non-monogamy (ENM) activities that she suggested. I made it clear that I was willing to partake in monogamous activities from her list that she enjoyed, for example, toys, but that didn't seem to really cut it for her. "It is what it is," she said on the phone with a sigh, her tone of voice one of clear disappointment. "I'm the one who's losing out here. You get to keep everything you want to do, but I don't really get anything. It's fine though. It is what it is. I can just suppress my desires and keep them in my head." I really disliked her insinuation that I was being obtuse or selfish for not willing to compromise on my boundaries, and I asked why me being willing to try the monogamous activities she outlined didn't seem to count as meeting her in the middle. "It's got to be spontaneous, and I want my partner to enjoy it too," which struck me as odd. I can't snap my fingers and suddenly change my enjoyment of or attitude towards a particular sexual activity. I explained to Lucy that she was the one who told me a few weeks ago with pretty stinging words that our sex life was unexciting and unsatisfying for her, and that even after our list comparison exercise, the options for fixing this were clearly pretty limited, despite me being willing to give certain monogamous things a try. I told her that I now have all these ominous thoughts, such as, is my partner ever going to be sexually satisfied by me? Is she going to end up resenting or cheating on me? Swirling in my mind, and that some kind of reassurance that these fears were misplaced or that we could work through this would really help me. She immediately clapped back with, "Well, what about me? What about all the things I'm having to give up?" That really got to me, and it reminded me of our previous conversation where she had basically showed no regard for my feelings with her constant nudging up against my boundaries. I felt myself getting angry and knew a shouting match would just make things worse, so I abruptly said goodnight and hung up on her. Before I went to bed, she sent a barrage of texts, explaining that she was upset by the situation, that she wanted me to feel more remorseful because of all the things she now has to suppress and keep in her imagination. She also expressed that she felt unappreciated for having to bury her sexual desires for the sake of the relationship. This sat really uncomfortably with me. Why on earth would someone need to feel remorseful for not wanting to risk their own mental well-being just so their partner can feel sexually satisfied? That I need to appreciate her for this horrible anxiety about the relationship I now feel. If Lucy and I were in a dead bedroom, or I was completely closed off to trying new things, I would understand, but not wanting to take part in ENM. I had said to her before that I was sorry that she felt like she was losing out, But insinuating that upholding sexual boundaries is something I need to show remorse for is honestly pretty horrible. My head is all over the place. I perhaps naively hoped that things between her and I could be salvaged by comparing our respective lists and working with the overlap between the two. But if anything, it's just made it even more apparent that her and I are sexually incompatible. And frankly, her way of handling the whole situation has really upset me. I feel like, as in my last post, she has no real regard for my feelings and is just angling for the outcome she wants, this time with lousy attempts at guilt tripping. I don't think I can ignore the writing on the wall this time. I care about Lucy a lot, but I hate how she keeps pushing and breaking me down like this, and her general lack of respect for my feelings and me as a person. Update: Lucy and I have broken up. I broke the news to her yesterday, first via text. I initially told her that we needed to talk on the phone, but she insisted that if it was to break up that I just tell her over text, and then confirming it on the phone. She was super tearful and keep insisting that this was all a giant misunderstanding, that she was sorry for how she had behaved, and that she would never hurt me, that she is happy in our relationship. It was really hard hearing her so upset, but I stood my ground. To be honest, I felt like she was backpedaling on things she had said earlier and downplaying how important the E&M activities she wanted to try are. They are things that she had expressed interest in repeatedly very early on, and so can't be dismissed as passing fancies. I told her I appreciated her apologizing, but the damage was done. I can't be in a relationship with someone I'm clearly sexually incompatible with no real chance of fixing it. This was absolutely for the best, but it still hurts. Lucy and I are giving each other some space. We had an upcoming trip together, and I have a few of her things at mine. So, we will have to meet up eventually to sort a few things out, and maybe clear the air, and so I'll need to be strong and make sure I don't cave in. Thank you for hearing me out and advising me. It means a lot. Let's see comments. I'm glad they broke up. Non-monogamy is up there with having kids as something couples can't compromise on. If you aren't on the same page about it, you have to part ways. Me too. The constant exhortation to compromise just means she's getting what she wants, unless the compromise is he tries non-monogamy and she doesn't. The second OOP agreed to the threesome. I knew it was downhill from there. That was the fork in the road where he either doesn't do it or does it, and she's going to want more. Of course I don't blame him, because he was clearly trying to compromise, but she knew how he felt going into the relationship, and she still brought it up. Give someone an inch, and they'll take a mile. Plus, it's honestly not clear to me whether her guilt tripping and complaining were genuine signs of unhappiness or manipulation to get something she just wanted. Given her sudden reversal anytime he mentioned breaking up, I lean toward the latter, and that's even a bigger red flag than sexual incompatibility. The only compromise I can think of between monogamy and non-monogamy is monogamy, but you can look at as much porn as you want to fulfill whatever needs one has. I hate it when people try to frame someone knowing what they want, the need, as not being open-minded. I almost never hear that phrase outside of people trying to coerce someone into sexual activity that they already made it clear they don't consent to. They don't end up on subs like this. An old buddy of mine's wife and her boyfriend all live together. They aren't into threesomes or screwing around or any of the stuff that gets really messy. He quit drinking, lost a lot of weight, hit the gym, and is happier than I've ever known him. If anything were to happen, it would likely be a lot more like the normal BFGF drama than a marriage broken by cheating. Another friend is active in the DSA, Socialist Party, and it's just nonstop poly scandals. That's the sort of thing you hear about when you think non-monogamy. I'm British. What are these garden parties he mentions? It definitely doesn't sound like a bunch of retired charity workers in their best clothes talking to the king over cucumber sandwiches and cups of tea. Let's see comments. I, 25 female, begged my partner, 28 male, for an open relationship 8 months in. He left I, 25 female, begged for an open relationship. 8 months in, he leaves me 8 months ago. I, 25 female, asked my partner, 28 male, for an open relationship as I got bored with him. Nothing wrong, but he just didn't excite me much. And he agreed, but he proceeded to tell me there's a catch. If he catches feelings for a partner, he's going to leave me for her. And that's exactly what happened. And I want him back in my arms. He left me for his new partner, 28, 29 female. What can I do to win the love of my life back? Update 1. Update I, 25 female. Begged for an open relationship. 8 months in, he leaves me. Probably nobody asked for this. But here's an update. I was kicked out of his house last Sunday. That's 6 days now, and I excruciatingly miss him. I will do anything to get him to return to me, but he looks happy on social media with his new partner that I'm pretty sure he was cheating on me with. Anyways, I tried calling him. No answer. I saw him in public and he pretended to not even know who the heck I was. He won't acknowledge my existence, so I went to our former place just to talk, and things got hostile. His new GF hates me for some reason. I didn't even know her, and she proceeded to try and attack me while he tried to split us up and get me out the door. When he had his back turned, she maced me, and now he's trying to file a restraining order on me. The hell did I do wrong? She attacked me and pepper sprayed me. How can I convince him he's dating a psychopath? Update 2, 25, female, 28, male. My ex followed through with his restraining order on me. This will probably be the last update. The restraining order has been filled, and I am not allowed within 100 feet of my ex Harry and his new GF Jess. I'm planning to move back to my home in Arizona and start over. They're happy, and I just want to find peace with myself. Thanks for everyone's advice and opinions. Yes, I was already in therapy, and I am still in therapy. Please, anyone my age or younger, listen to my advice. TikTok is not cool. Please delete it. It's done me nothing but harm, and other people's stupidity can really poison your minds in living proof. Thank you. Take care. Let's see comments. He spelt it out for you. I am inevitably going to break up with you. I am agreeing to an open relationship so I can look for a new partner. Don't be surprised. You are now sleeping in the bed you made. But I have a way to get him back. Go to sleep and dream that he's back in your arms. Classic Fafo situation, to be honest. Life and learn, so move on. ETA. What exactly did you expect, though? He probably decided to look for a better partner as soon as you blindsided him with the open relationship because you were bored. I mean, LOL. Why would he want to get back with someone who literally thought he was boring? Only boring people get bored. Maybe work on yourself before freaking with people's lives. Well, you decided to unilaterally change the terms of your relationship, and it's clear he wasn't up for it. From a neutral perspective, he did the right thing because why should he do something which doesn't align with his values? If this man bored you after 8 months, it's probably best to move on. So you insult the guy. You wanted an open relationship so you could spice it up. He warns you that if he catch feelings, he's going to leave, and then he did. Maybe next time, work on the relationship you have instead of using the man as a crutch while you find better. Because that is what you were trying to do, and he found someone first. You were the one who asked for this, and you got what you wanted. My boyfriend and I are in that lifestyle, but it's not something you just spring on someone out of the blue. There's a lot of communication done in a successful, open relationship, and you two didn't have the right foundation. The outcome didn't turn out the way you wanted because you didn't really give him a choice. He made his choice, and it's not you.